And yes, hello, we are live from my bedroom, as you see. We are also working from home offices. So, in this first chapter of learning about Voyagers, doing these live streams, we will talk about how to connect Voyagers together. So there are multiple ways for connecting Voyagers, and depending if you have one Voyager, if you have many Voyagers, or if you also depending on in which conditions you work on, you might want to connect the Voyagers in different ways. And let's go into it deeper. I'm going to wait maybe a few more participants to join and also to learn and to get some new information. So just going to wait a few more minutes. I can tell you what we are going to be learning today. As I said, about connecting Voyagers. We are going to learn about different Voyager Wi-Fi states, how to connect Voyagers to an external router, how to connect Voyagers with each other. So using one Voyager as a router, others connected to as a client, and also how to use a single Voyager if that is all you have. So viewers are getting there, so just waiting a few more minutes to get started, to get some more viewers. I think we might start at 8:05. Let's see how it goes. In the meantime, just to pass the time, I can actually maybe showcase you some of just some Voyager controller use cases in the application itself. So just waiting a bit more people around chat to reach back to me, and we'll do a questions and answers session later. So if anything was left unclear, you can let me know about this later in the chat. So let's start. Voyager by default, when you take it out of the box, when it has reached to you, is in default Wi-Fi state. So what does this mean, or what even the Wi-Fi state means? So as you know, Voyager is meant to connect to by a device using Wi-Fi. It doesn't have a screen itself. If you want to use it, you will just have to use external device. We support Android, Mac OS, iOS, also Mac OS and Windows platform. So to connect the Voyager, a single Voyager, when it has reached you, you just control its, you may start by controlling its Wi-Fi state. When it has reached to you, when you have took it out of the package, it should be in default mode. This being the default Wi-Fi mode. Let's check it here. The third diode here indicates us the Wi-Fi mode. You can see the little scripture here saying Wi-Fi. And now when I press and hold on the power button for less than 3 seconds, I can see the Wi-Fi state of the Voyager. So I can see that right now the third LED or diode is yellow. This indicates that the Voyager is in a master mode. This also, you can call it master mode, you can call it access point mode. So we are calling it master mode. By regular terminology, it would be an access point mode. So in this mode, Voyager itself is creating a Wi-Fi network, and you can connect to it. So here I am using my iPad, and when I go to my Wi-Fi listing to see Wi-Fi devices that are around me, sorry, I have also one here turned on. I can see my Voyager here in the Wi-Fi list. So what I can see is actually Voyager's, you can see right here, is Voyager's serial number that you can see here. So ending with 424. Each Voyager has its own serial number. So you can connect to this Voyager right now, as this is the serial number that we can see in our refill list right now. And I'm trying to connect to it, or I'll connect to it. What you have to remember always is that the Wi-Fi password is by default Sputnik. So you can see, let's see. Yep, you can see the, oh, where did you go? Yep, here. So this is the, this is our Wi-Fi password. So I'm just going to input it into my iPad, Sputnik, and join. So after that, you can see that the iPad starts to connect to the Voyager, and now we have established the connection. So right off the bat here, I can go to my Voyager commander already and start. Where's this? Yeah, iPad source. And start controlling my Voyagers. So I can already add it on the rad lamps, and I can add color to it. I'll take this away from here, and as you can see, I'm right now already controlling my Voyager. So the master mode, or the access point mode, however you like to call it, is really the mode that you should be using if you have only one Voyager. It is itself an AP, a Wi-Fi access point. You can connect to it using our default password, Sputnik, and from there you can go to the application and start controlling your Voyager.
And yes, hello, we are.
What if you have two Voyagers or more than two Voyagers? The easiest way to connect Voyagers together, to connect to them all at the same time, would be to use Voyager Wi-Fi modes. Basically, you start with making one Voyager a router Voyager and the other one a client Voyager by changing the Wi-Fi state of the Voyager. So just right off the bat, I'll give some information of what I'm talking about. So I mentioned before that Voyager has three Wi-Fi states. One about we already learned. It's the master mode, the access point mode, the one you would want to use if you're only using one Voyager. Second in the line is actually client mode, and third in the line is the router mode. So to connect two Voyagers together or more, you would need to create one router Voyager, and the others have to be client Voyagers, and they will automatically connect to the router Voyager. All that you have to do is to cycle the Wi-Fi modes. So how to cycle the Wi-Fi mode? Voyager, just set the lighting here. Also, let's get this bad boy out of here like this. So Voyager has a Wi-Fi button right on the corner here. On the top we have the power button. If you turn it on the right side, you have the Wi-Fi mode button. So if you push on this button for 2 seconds, the Voyager will alter its Wi-Fi state. So it will cycle through them. Right now we're in the master mode. And next up we're going to be in the client mode. After I hold down the Wi-Fi button for 2 seconds, and we can now see that the Wi-Fi state has changed, and this green blinking diode right now indicates me that Voyager is connecting or tries to connect to a network. Right now we don't have a router Voyager. Also, we don't have any external router set up for it. So it can't connect to anything because there's nothing to connect to. As it will try on for about 20 seconds, up to half a minute. And after that it has failed to connect, you can see this red diode here that was shown us shortly. So now if you go to check your Wi-Fi state, it's showing a red diode. This is because it's a client Voyager, but it hasn't got anything to connect to. Before you make a client Voyager, like I said before, you would want to create a master Voyager first. A router Voyager. To create the router Voyager, we just need to cycle again the Wi-Fi state. So same thing exactly, hold down for 2 seconds, the button on the side. The magenta diode here, the Wi-Fi diode, when it's magenta, it's indicating the Wi-Fi state change, and this time it flashed blue in the end. So this indicates us that it is now a router Voyager. When I check my Wi-Fi state by holding down the power button for less than 3 seconds, if you hold it longer than 3 seconds, the Voyager will turn off. I don't want to do this right now. Then you can see that the third diode is blue. If you have a question why the whole of the Voyager lights up when I'm pressing on the power button, this is because it's showing me actually the battery state of the Voyager. So all of this other lighting up of the LEDs I can show you here has nothing to do with Wi-Fi. It has to do with the Wi-Fi state. Sorry, the battery state, I'm sorry. So it basically shows me the charge of the Voyager, or how much is left. We want to talk about right now the third diode, the Wi-Fi diode, indicated right here. So now we have a router Voyager, indicated by the blue diode. So we have a router Voyager. We would also need to have another Voyager to connect to the router Voyager. So here I have another Voyager in the scene. Let's bring it in here. So I now have 2 Voyagers. I created one router Voyager, and now I want to cycle this Voyager to a client state. So I would have a router Voyager in a router state, indicated by the third blue diode. And for this Voyager, I would want to cycle this to the client state. I think it's still booting on. I just turned it on. Okay, it has booted. Cool. So as the other Voyager beforehand, this one is also by default in master state that we talked about, the state that you would want to use if you have only one Voyager or just want to connect to your Voyager, the access point state. So to connect this Voyager to the router Voyager, I'll also have to cycle the Wi-Fi mode just once this time. So I'll hold down the Wi-Fi button for 2 seconds, and I should be seeing it's indicating right now that there has been a Wi-Fi state change. Flashing green once again shows me that Voyager is trying to connect to something. This time it has something to connect to. It will connect to the router Voyager. So let's give it about 20 seconds or so, and after that we should see a green diode indicated to us. And if you check the Wi-Fi mode, it should show also green because it has connected to the router Voyager. So this here, and yep, here we go. Here we saw, indicated by a green flash, that the connection was established. Now when I go to check it, yep, the third diode is green. This is indicating me that the connection has been successful. So, thing to remember is that the Voyager will always rotate between these 3 Wi-Fi modes. Starting from master mode, the access point mode, then the client mode, and then the router mode. So if you happen to be in a client mode and you want to get back to the master mode, just cycle the Wi-Fi mode twice, and so on and so on. It will always cycle between the modes when you hold down the Wi-Fi button for 2 seconds. So, yep, now we have a router Voyager and the client Voyager, and we can actually now go back to our iPad to establish connection to the router Voyager. For that, I will go to my settings once again. Go under Wi-Fi here, and I can see the Voyager that we also saw here before, ending with 424, but this time it has an underscore M at the end. So this underscore M really indicates me that it's a router Voyager. So if you are wondering which Voyager is the router Voyager, you can either check the Wi-Fi LED, or you can go to your Wi-Fi settings and you could see there a Voyager that has an underscore M at the end. Thing to also remember, you don't want to create two router Voyagers. What happens when you have two router Voyagers and you have a lot of Voyagers connecting to them? Some of Voyagers that are in client state will connect to one router Voyagers. Other Voyagers in client state will connect to the second router. So they will just connect to the one that has better connection at the point, but then you will have two routers. You would need to connect to one to have, and some of the Voyagers are connected to this one, and it will create a lot of confusion. So don't do it. Only use one router Voyager. So now I'm going to connect my iPad to the router Voyager. Password still the same. It's Sputnik. Show you once more. Oh, sorry. What happened here? Yeah, where's my? Oh, that's weird. I'll try to get this in here. Passwords. Yeah, sorry guys. So you can see the password here, Sputnik. It's also the same password for the router state Voyager. Password is not changing, it's the default password. So now that I have connected my iPad to the router Voyager, I'm going to go back to my Voyager commander or Voyager controller. You can see from here that I have already re-established connection to my router Voyager, and now I'll go to add lamps. I'm sorry, what happened here? Let's quickly check. Yeah. What happened here is that I have my home network also connected and set up, and I have all these other Voyagers here lighting me up. So this is where the light comes from. And for a split second there, my iPad connected to my home network, and from there I saw the Voyagers that were in my home network. So if you have multiple routers laying on that has different Voyagers connected to them, you will have such a confusion just like I had. But I'm just keeping them separate for sake of this video tutorial to be understood. So right now I'm connected to my router Voyager, where we left off. Here, this one being the router Voyager. I'm going to set this screen a little bit better here, like this, so you can see them both. Yep. So I'm connected to this one. This Voyager is connected to my router Voyager. And now I'll add my client Voyager also into the project here. So now I can control them both simultaneously. So really easy. So if you want to connect multiple Voyagers together, just cycle the Wi-Fi state. Put one Voyager into a router state, the other Voyager into the client state. It's as easy as that. What else? So you can also actually do these Wi-Fi state changes from our application. And this is actually good for several reasons. For example, let's say that your Voyagers are rigged up somewhere under the roof. You don't have any access to them to manually cycle the Wi-Fi modes. So for if this is the case, you would want to use our application to change the Wi-Fi state. This is also a good time to let you guys know what version of the application I'm using. So I'm using version 2.2.44. This is the latest release soft. So what you would always like to check is if you have the latest release of our application installed if you're using this. We are constantly updating and doing upgrades to our application, and sometimes you would like to upgrade your application. And also a thing to remember is that our application also updates the software on the lamp. So as the Voyager is a smart light, it will also update the lamps. So maybe if you haven't used them in a while and you launch your Voyager Commander controller, it first asks to update the lamps. So of course, firstly update the lamps, and then you can start using them. Also, if something seems different today, even if the let's say the Voyager Wi-Fi, for example, if something is different about this Wi-Fi LED colors, the magenta indicates the state change, also might be because you're using an older version of the application. So please keep your application updated all times. So, but where I left off was how to change your Wi-Fi states of the Voyagers using our application. Also cool feature to find out when you're using our application which one is the router and which one is the client. As you can see, if my lamps would be rigged up high or rigged somewhere else, I can't go to them manually and control it. Aha, you are the master. Sorry, router. Constantly keep switching them up, sorry. One is the client and one is the router. You can't go to them and manually check it. We have this information button in the application. It's located at down left corner. First, I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys could see better, like this. And when I push on the info button, I can see that one of my Voyager, the 323, is the client and the other one is a router. If you now wonder which one of them is in the real life, easiest way to find out is to select one and use our indication button or the I button located at also bottom left corner of our application. So I'll hit this and you can see one of them turned pinkish or red, and I'll select the other and select this one. So now I know which one they are. They are actually mixed up for me. So I would like to position them like this. So now they will actually match up the real life scenario. So I'll select this one and indicate, and I can now see that this makes sense. So changing the Wi-Fi state or the Wi-Fi mode using our application is simple. I'll just either select both of them or neither of them. I can, let's see, what do I want to do? I want to see which one is client, which one is router. Let's connect them both to an external router. I'll go to lamp settings, and here I'll go to Wi-Fi setup. So you can see from here that I have three selections. Exactly these Wi-Fi modes that I have been talking about. We have the master mode, the client mode, and the router mode. So if I would want to over Wi-Fi change the Wi-Fi state, one of them or either of them, I would just use, if I want to put them both back to their original or the default Wi-Fi state, I would use master mode, and here I can use set located in the bottom left corner. So it won't actually do the state change before you also push the set, because we have added this in there as kind of a foolproof, because sometimes you might hit from here router mode, and instantly, if you have a lot of Voyagers in your project, all of them would be routers. And as I said before, you don't want to have more than one router. So it's cool that you also have to hit set, so it will actually do what you ask it to do. So, but what I would like to do right now is to connect them both to an external router. So this is kind of the third way to connect your Voyagers. Would be to use an external router. So I'm not connecting Voyager to another Voyager. I'm actually connecting Voyagers to an external router. Why this is good? For several reasons. Let's start. If you have more than 9 Voyagers, you would want to use an external router if you use more than 9 Voyagers. This is because you can connect only up to 9 Voyagers to a Voyager. So Voyager can max hold 10 clients. And one of them is yourself with your external device that you're connecting it to with. And the other 9 would be the Voyagers. So then there would be 10 clients. It's full, you can't connect anymore. So then you would want to use an external router. Also another user scenario. You would, if you're going on a set, or if you just have, let's say you have a set with a lot of, let's say, what's the word now? If you have a set with a lot of other Wi-Fi transmitters, there might be AV guy, sound guy. They are also using the same Wi-Fi range that you are. Then you would like to actually also connect Voyagers using an external router, because external routers have antennas and they have a more they just have more range, and they can they're not so easily interfered when we talk about just Wi-Fi. Thing to remember here is Voyager support both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz connections. So I would prefer you guys, if you get an external router, to get the 5 gigahertz one. You will have a better connection to your Voyagers. Also, when you go to a set, you might have better connection there, because a lot of devices using that are used there, for example, Lumen Radio, are still on 2.4 gigahertz. So it's good to have a 5 gigahertz router, so you're not messing up maybe the lighting sky. You're not messing up anybody's other connection also. Just use a 5 gigahertz router if you can. How to connect your Voyagers to an external router? Just I will select client mode from here, and here I can see the first line would be the Wi-Fi name or the Wi-Fi SSID. Under here, I can actually scan for different Wi-Fi connections around me. So all of the Voyagers that you are connected to will scan for different Wi-Fis and will get back to you with a list. So this is what I would like to do right now. I would like to scan for networks. It will take about 10 to 20 seconds depending how many Voyagers you might have connected at the moment. You can also connect to an hidden SSID. So if you, for example, don't want to broadcast your internet name to anyone else on the set, you have your SSID or your Wi-Fi name hidden, then you can just type in your Wi-Fi router's name and its password, and you can connect to it also. But right now the scan has ended. I'll select here, and you can see that I have different options here. I'm doing this from my home office. So I have a lot of routers around me, not so much. If you're out on set, you might have more. I would like to connect to my home office router. This is this one. For you, it might be something different. It depends what your external router is named. So I'll select this by just dragging up and down. I'll select my router, and then I hit pick from right down here. And now I have to also input my password. So this time it's not Sputnik, but it could be Sputnik. What I have done usually is that I have renamed my router. I don't know, whatever you want to rename, but if this is my router that I'm using constantly Voyagers with, I'm just also using Sputnik. By default, it is already written in here, Sputnik, but I would like to change this to my home Wi-Fi ID, and I'll just get it really quickly. Yep, okay. So you can enter whatever Wi-Fi password you are using for your router and hit return. So I entered my password, and now I would like to hit set also. As I mentioned before, you have to hit set for these actions to take place. So set. And you can see here instantly both of these Voyagers are changing their Wi-Fi state. And now they both flash green, indicating they are trying to connect to an external router that was given them by me. And this green diode that you saw at the end showed us that the connection was successful. I can also recheck it if I want to. Yep, both are green. And you can see that the application showed me disconnected for a while. And then my iPad logged into my home office network here automatically, because I have been there before, and my connection was re-established right there and then. So really, really cool feature. This is basically how you connect your Voyagers to an external router. You can do this using our application. If you have, for example, a lot of Voyagers, let's say you have 18 Voyagers, what you would want to do to make the connection process faster is to create one router Voyager, cycle 8 other Voyagers to client state, then connect to the router Voyager. They will come up to your application all at once as they are connected to the router Voyager, and from there select them all, and using our application, go to client mode, search for your external router, and connect them from there. So you can do 9 at a time. You don't have to do one, then connect to it, go to client state, and turn it to external router. You can do 9 at a time. There is also one way more how to connect them to an external router, actually not using our application. I will talk about this at the end. Maybe to show you some logic of why we have designed this way is first for it to be accessible to everybody. So everybody's smartphone has a 2.4 gigahertz, maybe 5 gigahertz connection. So everybody can connect to Voyager if they want to. You don't need an extended device for connecting multiple together to the network or Bluetooth, nothing like this. You can connect to one just using your device. You can connect to multiple using your device. You can connect them to an external router that you can buy off the shelf from the store. You don't have to buy any kind of router that we endorse or something. Just any router would do. I would prefer a 5 gigahertz one. But to show you a quick example more would be what happens if you lose connection to your router. So if my home router now would suffer a blackout or something, and this has happened to me on the set. For example, you're using somebody else's router, Wi-Fi router that is not actually set up good. What happened to me was that there was no Wi-Fi password for the router, so all the extras came to the set. Their phones automatically connected to the Wi-Fi router, and Lion Guy himself couldn't connect to the router anymore because all of the IPs had been 12 out, so there was nothing left for him. He couldn't make a connection. And what I did right then and there is that I just chose a Voyager. I had 8 Voyagers there. You can choose either one of them, and you can actually just do a quick Wi-Fi mode change. So right then, here and now, I was in client state. Now I am in a router state. Just cycled it one from client state to router state. So now I have a one router Voyager right here and now. And now if this Voyager would also would lose connection, it would show red. I can't really demo it to you right now, guys, because if I take my home internet away, I would lose connection to you. But let's say that I would also have there's no connection because my router went dead. Then I don't have to do anything actually with this one, as this is in a client state already. It will automatically, after about 20 seconds, connect to my router Voyager. This is because client Voyager is always designed to look for a router Voyager. Right now it is connected to my external router. If I would take my external router away, it will show a red diode for a bit if I check it. But because I have a router Voyager next to it, it will, after 20 seconds, connect to the router Voyager automatically without me doing anything. But then I would just have to use my device, go to my Wi-Fi settings and connect to my router Voyager. And here we go. Now when I go back to the application, you can see that I have established my connection to the router Voyager, and right now, because my home office network is still there, I have lost my connection to the client Voyager. But it's a really cool and easy and simple way to quickly reconfigure your networks on the go or on the fly. If you lose your Wi-Fi external router for any reason, just cycle one Voyager to router state, and the client Voyagers, without you doing anything, will connect to it in about 20 seconds, and you can connect. You can continue where you left off. So yeah, a lot of information dished out really fast. What I'll do now is that I'll actually cycle this one also back to the client state. So I would get connection to it again. What happens when it goes client state right now is that it will automatically once again connect to my home network, because this is what I kind of configured it to do. So And cool, right now, as I cycled it once, it's now a router Voyager. Sorry, once again, it's a master Voyager, an access point mode Voyager. I would want to make it a client, so I just have to cycle once more. So magenta LED indicating the Wi-Fi change. And so next one in the line is client. You can see it flashing green. And now it will automatically connect to my external router that I set it up for. This is also cool because now if I turn this Voyager off, let's do a boot cycle, and now I will turn it back on again. You can see that I have lost a little bit of battery. This is why it's lighting up in a different way now when I hold down the power button. It will kind of turn on for about 20 to 30 seconds. It will boot up. You can see the boot state process by the first LED, indicated by the word power here. If I push and hold less than 3 seconds right now, I can see the first LED is blue. This is telling me that it's booting on. And now for a short while, you may see a red LED. It's trying to make a connection now from the boot state. So what you will see here is that it will automatically connect back to my external router that it was configured up to connect. So here we go. It's green. It's automatically connected to my external router without me even have to do anything anymore. It's cool. This is how I use Voyagers usually. I have one external router, and when I go to the set or somewhere, they are already configured up to be in this router's network. So first thing I would do is I would hook up my router to the power. So my router creates the Wi-Fi network, and then I would turn on my Voyagers, and they will already automatically connect to the external router. So then just select your device and go and under Wi-Fi list, find your external router, connect to it, and you're ready to go. Your Voyagers will remember the last connection that they were connected to. If something happens with your external router during your shoot, just cycle one Voyager to router state, the other ones will hop to it, and you're good to go once again. So a lot of different ways to connect your Voyagers. I like to use an external router because if I'm going to a set, I might take 6 at a time. If I'm going less than I think 5 or 4, I'm going just with the Voyagers because it's easier. It's going to be a small setup anyway. There you don't need an external router. Yeah, so this is just how I roll with them usually. So before I mentioned that there's one more way how to connect your external router to your Voyagers without using our application. And it's a pretty cool trick. I can't really demo it to you right now. I will do it next time, but I will tell the basics. Once again, I can't demo it because if I change the network name of my home router right now, I would lose connection. But basically, the idea of this is that you rename your external Wi-Fi router. And what do you rename it to? Okay, you can see it. You can see it here. So you rename your external router to this not word, but if you use this name for your external router, the client Voyagers will connect to it automatically. So you guys probably already know why this happens. I showed you before the router Voyagers name in the SSID list. I can show it once again really fast. I'll take this away from here. I will cycle this one to be a router Voyager. Let's give it a second. And from here I will go to my Wi-Fi list. Right here. So you can see in my Wi-Fi list I now have a Voyager with an _m at the end. So if you rename your router to have this name that is shown here on the screen, then your client Voyagers will automatically connect to it. So it has to have what's the name for them? Can't remember. It has to have the beginning DS026. From there, a certain amount of actually it can be whatever figure you want. It doesn't have to be a capital X. We're just using it. And at the end we have an _m. You don't have to write this down. You can write this down. It's easier to get this naming from our Voyager manual that you can download from our webpage. Go under support. From there you can see Voyager manual. If you download it, the name is already there. You can just copy and paste it. You don't have to do it from the start. Sorry. Yeah, here we go. So if you have this name to your external router, then your Voyagers will connect to it automatically. The thought there is that if you have more than 20 Voyagers or even more Voyagers, we have tested up to 96 Voyagers with one unified router and one device, and it works. If you have so many Voyagers, it's also quite of a hassle to do 9 at a time. So as I talked about it before, connect 9 together using a router Voyager. From there, use our application and put them to an external network. If you have up to 90 Voyagers, you still have to do this 9 times. So it's actually much easier to configure your external router's name to this name that I have shown here that you can get from our manual. And then all of the Voyagers that are in the client state will hop on to this network that has this name. Thing to do, remember, you have to also use our default password tsputnik for the external router. So yeah, use tsputnik and tsputnik. So no capital letters there. Sorry, just use this for password always. So using your external router, this for the name, and configure this as your password. Sorry, I have a lettering issue here, like this, and you're good to go. You can connect like this 3 Voyagers up to 90 Voyagers. If you have this external router set up, you put your Wi-Fi, your Voyagers into a client state. They will connect to your external router automatically. I can demo it to you, but there's really no much case, because I'm sure you guys will have a different Wi-Fi router than I have. Usually there are, for Linksys and for Unify, 2 routers that I like to use, they have applications for you to do this really easily. So you just run your Wi-Fi conf application for your router. From there you can really easily change your Wi-Fi SSID or the external router's Wi-Fi name, and also change the password. So this might be the easiest solution for you if you don't want to use our application, or you have a lot of Voyagers, our application for this connection process, or you have a lot of Voyagers and you don't want to do this each time. This might be a way for you to actually change the name of your external router. So yeah, a lot of information we just went over with. Um, I don't know if it was mentioned so beforehand, but yeah, this part of the Voyager tutorial, kind of the first of these lives. We will do more. I'm sure we will do another one next week already on a different topic. You guys can suggest topics that we can talk about. But these are the basic ways of connecting Voyagers together. So um, if you connect to a single Voyager, you might only get away using master mode or the access point mode. You don't really need more. You can connect Voyagers together between themselves using a router state and the client state. And then you can connect your Voyagers to an external router using our application under Wi-Fi settings, or you can actually rename your external router and then the Voyagers will connect to it automatically. I might actually show you how it's done next time when I have an external router here that I can configure myself. Right now I don't have it, an oversight for me. So let's go over it next time. But if you guys have any questions about connection process or something else, let me know. I'll go over the chat right now really fast because I haven't really paid attention to it. And yeah, add something that you want to know or ask me something. I think we already went over of how to add more Voyagers to an external router with Wi-Fi once you already have it set up. So connect to your single Voyagers or connect your Voyagers together using a router and a client Voyager. From there, I'll go quickly, maybe go over it once again. From there, take this away right now. From there, position this in here. So really fast, I'm just connected to one of my Voyagers. I want to connect this to an external router. Just select it, setup, lamp settings, Wi-Fi setup, client mode, and from here I can either type my SSID manually or scan for it, and from there I can hit set and it will connect to my external network. So which routers are good to bring on the set? I'm usually using Unify routers, like this one here. I have to set it up correctly for the next time that we talk. This is only an access point, so you would need also a DHCP router. It doesn't have one itself. I have also used Linksys 5 GHz routers. Actually, these are a little bit easier to configure too. The Unify network solution is great. It has a lot of options, but it takes a little bit more time to set up. But the configuration possibilities for Unify are amazing. If you just want to go an easier way, I would just recommend 5 GHz router that has external antennas, of course, and just yeah, I have used Unify or Linksys. Either one of them are good and awesome. Isn't there a mode you need to? Yeah, somebody's asking about a mode that you would want to put your Voyagers to storage them for a long time. Yes, there is a mode like this. Basically, why you would want to use it is to keep your battery power. So Voyager has batteries inside, rechargeable, and to save the battery charge state over a long period of time, we recommend using shelf mode or storage mode, however you like to call it. This information is also in our manual. I can demonstrate it here really quick. So I'll take one of my Voyagers, and if I would want to put this Voyager into a shelf mode or a storage mode, I would press on both of these buttons, the Wi-Fi state button and the power button, for 10 seconds. And just keep on pushing for 10 seconds. You can just read it, or after 3 seconds it will turn off, but you have to push it for 10 seconds. So I hold both buttons down for 10 seconds, and now when I try to turn it on, nothing happens. This is the shelf mode, the storage mode. It's also good to use this for transportation if you don't know how long this is going to take. The Voyager will now hold its charge for a long period of time from us. So, but to bring your Voyager back from this state, you need to connect your AC to it. So I have one connected up right here. So I'm just take my charger, connect it to the port right here, and I can already see that my Voyager is back to life, and now I can turn it on. So this is the shelf mode. If you want to store the battery over a long period of time, use this. Would the response be faster to use an external router of 5 GHz than use one Voyager as master, for example, 8 Voyager setup? Overall, I would recommend using a router, an external router, for sure if you have already 8 Voyagers. Just when you're going out to the set, to the professional movie set, you might have a lot of interference on the 2.4 GHz spectrum of the Wi-Fi, and just in case, if you have the possibility, 5 GHz or even 2.4 GHz routers are not so expensive. You can get a decent one from $100. I would for sure take one just in case, but you don't have to. Yes, you can use 8 Voyagers also without an external router. I would feel a little bit more comfortable if they would be an external router, but in the end it's up to you and where you use them. If you hold the Wi-Fi button for a long time, like 8+ seconds, I find my Voyager goes into another mode. This is not another mode. This is actually what we call a Wi-Fi reset. This is also a good way to talk about yet another function that I didn't cover, or I just kind of forget. Is kind of, what's the word for it? Let's say you go out on a set, or you have your Voyager set up, and for a moment there you don't know what router they are connected to, or to what Voyager they are connected to. This may happen if you have, for example, a lot of routers that you are using, and you have your router set up, and you just find yourself figuring to what router they are connected to. You don't have idea. There's actually a way to check this really quickly using Bluetooth. So using your device that you are connecting to your Voyagers with, or any other device that supports Bluetooth, go to your Bluetooth settings. So Bluetooth right here, and from here I can see that I have also now the Voyagers that are lighting me. As I talked before, there are 3 Voyagers in my home network already that are lighting me at the moment. All of them will show up under Bluetooth, and we can see that they are all connected to an external router. So if you would have a Voyager, a router Voyager that they would be connected to, then you could see the first line in this would be the Voyager serial, followed a router, or followed by the router name that it is connected to. And this is just to make sure that you know to what router you have to connect your device to create the connection with the Voyager. So if you didn't know that, you can use Bluetooth for this. You can't select them from here. You can't do anything other with the Bluetooth yet. We have some ideas for the future, but right now you can just use this to check where your Voyager is connected to. But what the question was about, that if you hold your Voyager side button for longer than 10 seconds, this is actually a Wi-Fi reset. And what this does is it basically resets the Wi-Fi. It doesn't actually, you can see, or can you see? Let's see. You can't, it will not forget, the Wi-Fi it was connected to, but it will kind of just do a reboot to the Wi-Fi chip. So before I talked about that under Bluetooth, you can see where your Voyager is connected to. Actually, if you have trouble connecting your Voyager to your external router, for example, or another Voyager, you can check under Bluetooth. We have some indication here. For example, if you input your password wrong, it will show here the Voyager serial followed by wrong pass, or if your external network is not to be found, it will also show the Voyager's name followed with not in range. So the Bluetooth is there to kind of just troubleshoot if you have some problems connecting to your network. And also the Wi-Fi reset here, you might see after 10 seconds, you might see that the Wi-Fi LED will turn white. It will just reboot the Wi-Fi cycle. If you have connection problems, you can use it, but usually there's no real reason to hold it down for 10 seconds. So what else? Yeah, it's good to note that when Voyagers are plugged in and charging, the master will still show up. Why is this? Even if your Voyager is in a router state and you turn it off and you put it to charge, then the Wi-Fi of this Voyager will still actually can be seen from your device. So I can demonstrate it right here. I'll put these Voyagers to charge. I will turn it off. It's now off. You can actually check if this is charging by holding down the power button once again less than 3 seconds. If the first LED is yellow, then the Voyager is charging. Right now it is yellow. All of the Voyager is yellow at the moment because it's losing some of its power, but you can see that it is charging. And if I go to my Wi-Fi list on my iPad right now, you can see that I can also see the Voyager's Wi-Fi. So why is this? Might seem a little bit unnecessary, but actually thinking about behind this is that it's also a feature. Let's say that you have a bundle of Voyagers. You have your Voyagers. You come to the set, so you might not use all of them at once. The boot cycle of a Voyager is relatively long. It may be up to 20 to 30 seconds after you have turned it on from the button. It will take 20 to 30 seconds to actually turn on until you can connect to it. So the thinking behind this is that you get to set and you put your Voyagers to charge, and they will already then be kind of in a standby mode. From here, you just hold down for 3 seconds and it's ready to go. It's not booting anymore. You can see it has already booted and the Wi-Fi is already also up. So the thinking behind this is that you might not use all your Voyagers at once, like the DP tells you, yeah, 2 Voyagers here, bring 1 more. They're in your charging stations already, so you just hold down the button for 3 seconds, they will turn on, and you're good to go. You don't have to wait for the boot up cycle each time. Just when you get to the set, put them to charge, and when you need them, they're ready to go. Just remember to turn it on before you take it off charging, because then you once again have to do a boot cycle. Actually, everything else about Voyager is working in a charging state, just the light output is dimmed down. Everything else is working. So this is the reason for this feature. We have had questions about people writing to us, and why is my Voyager still active when charging? This is kind of a standby mode. It's also mentioned in our manual. You can read more about it there. But this is the user case, and once again, the user scenario how I personally use this. So when I go do a set, I have an extension cord already that my Voyager chargers are plugged into. I get to the set, I just connect my extension cord to the power outlet, and you're good to go. And thing to remember there is just to be safe, to be on the safe side. Do not blow any of what's the word in English? Just connect 3 Voyagers to the charger at the time. So you might do 3 and the 3 if you have 6 outlet. Extension cord. Otherwise, it may what's the word? Yeah. Can't remember it right now. Just 3 and the 3 Voyagers at the time to connect them to charge at the same time. 3 is max, just to keep in mind. Jesus. Okay, so let's see. What do we have? Something else? Yeah, we will be going over adding custom effects, of course, and I will show you a really cool feature that is possible with Voyagers. Called basically a live video mapping from any of your video program. So you can actually you can do this using Spout on Windows or Siphon on Mac OS, and you can do live kind of not live video mapping, but live creation on the lights. So basically feeding your After Effects live video preview onto your lamps. This is good for just previewing how your animation looks on the lamps, so you don't have to each time render out the video and then load it up there. A really cool and handy feature that we actually did a whole a live show with. You can see some BTS on our Instagram. What else? Yeah, blow a circuit. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if you connect more than 3 Voyagers at the same time to a power outlet, you might actually blow a circuit. So just to stay on the safe side, 3 at the max. You might get away with more, but you might also really infuriate some people when you blow a circuit. So yeah. So let's do this again then, I think next week. if you guys are still interested, I can configure an external router with this name. We can go over the connection setup from there. But you can suggest or comment in the Instagram or let us know what would be the features that you want to see next time, or what part of the Voyager Commander you want to go over next time. So we will be doing this again, and I'll hope to see you next time also. So yeah, cheers. Let's see if you have any final question. Current lighting setup. Actually, can I show it here really quickly? I'll try. Let's see. Window capture and not great new Voyager controller. Okay. Yeah, it's right now. Right now, this is letting me know that I'm using more than one controller at a time. This is something that you wouldn't wouldn't want to do, as we're not supporting multi-controlling. But my current lighting setup, let's go over it really quickly, is here like this. So I have my long 4-foot Voyager back there. Adding just some shine on the back. I have my Voyager on the left side of to me. To your right side, I have taken the diffuser off it to get a nice highlight, and I also have my main key Voyager here. Sorry. Yeah, on this side, just to add, and it has a diffuser on it, just to add nice overall overcast. What I can't give you any camera settings because I'm using my IMAX webcam for this. It's not super great quality. Also, it changes its settings itself. I'm sure you can maybe control it somehow. Next time I would. And for the close-up here, I'm just using a Nikon DSLR. But in the future, we will also be doing master classes. Hopefully, when this quarantine is over, then there we will, of course, do also lighting different scenes. So it would be actually interesting for you guys to also see Voyagers in action. So actually, maybe this quarantine isn't good. Is just good to take time to go over Voyager technical sides, and then when this happens and when we can get back to office, we can do some cool master classes with actually cool photography and we can use Voyagers in a more for more artistic solutions, let's say. Yeah, this has been awesome. It's kind of my first time, so please apologize from my behalf of everything that was kind of not correct at the moment. Please let us know if something was left unsaid or you have more questions. We will answer them either in the next episode or just in the comments. So this has been great. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Bye.